So what happens when white Americans become quote unquote uncivilized? Because they pride themselves in being quote unquote stereotypically the civilized ones, okay? Now, for those who don't understand what civilized versus uncivilized is, I'm going to give you a really, really short definition, okay? When it comes to Europeans or white Americans, right? Civilized is them. Uncivilized is everybody else who does not behave and do things exactly like them. Okay? So that's the actual definition that's the actual historic definition of what Europeans or white Americans view as civilized versus uncivilized. Okay? So for instance, when they went and landed on the New World, and they went and landed on other different places, right? Those people were automatically savages to them. Okay? They were uncivilized because they did not behave like Europeans. And right now, white Americans. Okay? So, what happens when white people break their own rules? Their own cultural rules, and they become quote unquote uncivilized, meaning they don't behave like they set it up for them to behave. Okay. This happens a lot. This happened in the case of Utah. Okay. This is happening right now presently in the United States of America. Okay. And I'm going to put this up so you won't think I'm telling a story about this. Okay. I'm going to put this up and I'm going to read it to you. And I'm going to tell you exactly how they have broken their own stereotypical civilized laws. Okay. So they like to establish laws, right? This is what they like to establish them, and they like to follow them. They want to adhere to them in an organized government and formal legal system. However, if those laws stop benefiting them the most, they will become uncivilized. Or the stereotype of civilized, okay? They will break their own laws. They definitely will. Okay? And they will move over into the realm of what they stereotypically consider savage. Because if you're breaking the formalized laws, then you're behaving uncivilized to them, right? At least that's what they would say about other people. So then, practicing decorum and etiquette. Engaging in polite, courteous, and gentle social interactions. This includes please and thank you, and avoiding aggressive confrontation. This is when, and we have several examples of this, they break their own rules. Okay, so if they see someone out of pocket, acting out of pocket, quote unquote, then they'll say, oh, the savages, they don't, oh. But, and you've heard it before, the thugs, those, right? But, when they get out of character. Okay, so and then you have respecting property now. We can go into this one, okay? Paying debts and respecting the belongings of others, okay? So we already know, even though they called everyone else uncivilized, actually everyone else was actually very much civilized because no one stole stuff from them. Okay? They, in fact, stole stuff from everybody else, including people. So, toss that one out the window. So, they stole inventions. Like I said before, civilized goes out the window if it does not benefit them. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. Prioritizing intellectual and aesthetic development, valuing education, art, and cultural refinement. Listen, so going on right now today, there are many people who do not value education, art, cultural refinement, nothing. Okay. They want to shut a lot of that down because they feel like education is only good when it benefits them, okay, and how people perceive them, all right? That's been very important in European history, and it still is today in white American history. So everything is all good if the facts benefit them. But when the facts actually reveal the truth, and that truth does not benefit them, they become what? Uncivilized. They don't care about education then. They throw all that out. Civilized and uncivilized. Okay? That's just a way for them to classify folks. Okay? Because they have yet to call themselves uncivilized when they even break their own quote unquote civilized laws. Engaging in planned strategic living in settled urban areas with complex infrastructure, agriculture, division of labor, in contrast to nomadic and subsistence lifestyle. So basically, they like moving other people around, but they don't like to move around. And let's see, communicating with nuance. Using developed written language and being mindful of how one's words affect others. Okay. So we have several instances where many powerful people are not using their words wisely. Instead, they're using it to sow many different seeds that have nothing to do with peace. Okay? And many of them do not care how their words affect others. That's very important in a civilized culture, right? So they throw that out the box if it's not benefiting them. Okay? Therefore, when you look or listen to white American people, understand that the word civilized, it actually means themselves. That's it. That's all it means. Okay? They will never consider themselves uncivilized. Though they in fact do they break all of their stereotypical laws, okay? They break them all. They disregard rules and authority. They have hostile behavior many times, disrespectful, domestic violence. They even break their peaceful little laws with violence. They resort to physical and verbal threats and conflicts instead of pursuing peaceful resolution. And they lack self-regulation. If, in fact, the peaceful resolution does not benefit them, there will be violence. So, uncivilized?